Hello friends, welcome to Facebook Live, and today we are going to discuss the Morrison Government's changes that have happened to JobKeeper. So a few questions that have come to me from my good friend Mr. Fakir Anwar, and he's in touch with the community, and so he has put in a few questions. So let's quickly go through that. The first question that has come through to me is that what is the date for ending of JobKeeper? So that date is the 28th of March 2021. So basically that will be the last fortnight for receiving of the JobKeeper payments. As you know, this is the second extension, part 2, and the rates for that have also changed. So $1,000 per fortnight if you're working full time, and $650 otherwise. That is a drop from 1,200 to 1,000 in December quarter. That was 1,200, and December quarter, what was 750 is now 650. So basically this is does not look like it is going to be extended, because as per the government records, they have found that the housekeepers and the families have squirreled away almost $200 billion in extra saving in anticipation of this pandemic situation. So definitely that they feel will be used to pull the economy along for the next few months. So that is one of the reasons that they don't feel this is going to be required to extend. But there may be two sectors which they may support by something called the housekeeper, something to support the hospitality sector. Nothing clear yet, but that could happen once we come closer to the end of JobKeeper in March. So something may come up for the hospitality sector, because it has largely been hit. It's been on the front line: tourism, food, etc. And something for the tourism sector, because obviously because of the pandemic there are been no foreign nationals or tourists coming in, so something like JobKeeper. So we will know more details as we approach close to the end of March. So that is one thing. So the thing that you have to consider is that JobKeeper is ending, and on the 28th, and the chances for it being extended are very low. So you need to start looking at other avenues for income, and look at increasing your business. If there's any issues, if there's specific issues in your sector, then you need to approach your association and try and make a case for your organization or sector for work. So that is one of the points that you have to keep that in mind. Second question basically that Mr. Fakir has got is, okay, if JobKeeper is ending, what else do we have? What are our options? So that is one thing that we will be looking at. So the first point that we have got is JobSeeker, obviously. So even if JobKeeper ends, JobSeeker is something that will continue in either the same name or New Start Allowance. It's basically New Start Allowance. So if your income is below a certain limit, then you are eligible for New Start Allowance. So JobKeeper most likely will end, but may continue in some sort of way like New Start Allowance, which was always there. So that is an area that you will have to look. JobSeeker is also going to end. There is no main details on that, but it will continue in the way of New Start Allowance. But The full details for that is with Centerlink, so you can actually keep in touch, and more details will be available as and when we approach closer to the deadline of JobKeeper end. So JobSeeker, I would suggest, would continue in some sort of way in a different name, either by JobSeeker or with New Start. We'll have more details at the end of March. Nothing much to do there, and just wait for it. Okay, so there have been a few questions that even I have received as to what happens when JobKeeper ends to my employees if I am not able to continue employing people. As you know, previously for the last 9 months, there have been businesses that are employing people and their wages are more or less paid via JobKeeper. So they are able to continue their business. They are able to, keep paying their employees, because initially it was 1500 per fortnight and you had to pay that 1500 to your employee. So more or less the entire wage was being paid for your employees. Now that figure has gone down in December to 1200, and in the Jan to March period it has gone down to further to $1000 per fortnight. Now this is going to end on 28th of March. So what if you are not able to support your employees? Suppose your income is still not picked up. Now this is basically a tricky question. The first thing is you have to find out whether your employee is casual employee. If he is casual, then you can always reduce his hours or close work, because there's no contract. Casual means you have work, you will call them. If you don't have work, you will not. So if it's a casual employee, you can just basically have a courtesy notice period, and employees hours can be reduced, or he can be asked to not continue. But if it is a permanent employee, then you cannot reduce their hours without their agreement. Okay, and they need to agree to that. And for termination also, if you want to terminate, then you have to see the do it properly. So there is a procedure for that, and you have to follow his agreement or award or whatever agreement arrangement that you have with the employee, and you just can't say, okay, don't come tomorrow. So basically you have to follow a procedure to make an employee redundant if he is permanent. So basically, even that is not an issue if your business cannot afford and you can prove that. So you can discuss with the employee that, look, we are not getting enough sales, and you can show, you don't need to show, but things are clear to an employee. You can discuss with him that the business is going down, and because of that your services cannot be afforded by the business. On that way you can terminate an employee's employment on the grounds that their job is no longer required because there's not enough income to basically support it. So that's the thing, but you have to avoid risk of claims for unfair dismissal, because if employee is just asked to leave and situation is not explained and proper redundancy procedure is not followed, especially for permanent employees, then you could be in trouble. So be very careful with that. Casual employees is easier. With permanent employees, handle with care. I mean, they are humans, their emotions and feelings also need to be understood, but at the same time, if the business cannot support, obviously business runs for profit, not for charity. So you need to discuss with your employees. That's the main thing, and follow proper procedure if you cannot afford after JobKeeper to continue employment for your employees. So remember that. Now there's also the question that has come to my team, that should we, if we are going to, we know that JobKeeper is going to end on the 28th of March. After that I'm not able or not going to be able to afford my employee. Should I make him redundant after 28th because the government is paying some part of his wages anyway, so I'm not losing, and he will get employment for another month and a half, 3 fortnights, 4 fortnights, he will continue getting it. I'm not paying out of pocket. That's a question. Should I make him redundant after end of JobKeeper? and or should I make him redundant now? Now there's a factor to consider here. It's probably more beneficial if you are sure that your business is not going to take up and you will not be able to afford the employee at the end of the job keeper date, then it makes sense for you to make him redundant now, which sounds callous, but you have to understand as a business that even if your wages are being paid via JobKeeper, the employee is still accruing annual leave and long service leave if he's been there for a certain period of time, and those are not compensated or paid by JobKeeper. And as you know, as and when your wages, when you make employee redundant, the service period is taken into consideration, so that may increase your outflow. So that's, and plus you may have to pay additional annual leave and whatnot. So that's a point that you have to consider. Okay. Now, okay, I've got another question from Mr. Fakir, and basically that is on again, like what after, what is left if we don't have JobKeeper available, what sort of benefits are still continuing to be available. And yeah, so the first point that we have got here is instant asset write-off is still available. Okay, and basically obviously you have to understand that though the limit of instant asset write-off is $150,000, that is not for luxury cars. For luxury cars there is a separate limit, roughly around 57,000 odd, 57 to 58 in that range. And so even if you buy a car of 100, you cannot write off the full 100,000. The maximum you could write off is the business percentage applied to the luxury car limit, which is between 57,000 to 58. So you have to be very careful about that. But if you buy a vehicle which is wholly suited for business, like you buy a truck, you could go for 150. If you buy a ute and you're a tradie and you need it for tools, you know, you could go for a higher limit. So there is 150 is the limit till that you can continue to basically spend. And this is not for one asset. So let's say you buy one vehicle and then for say a truck for 100, and then you need tools for 50,000. You can buy tools and the truck, and you can continue to claim that. So there is absolutely no problem. You can buy multiple assets. Okay, and so basically that is still continuing. That is one thing. And the another factor that you can look at is basically your job hiring credit. So what is job hiring credit? This law was passed in mid-November last year. So it was part of the federal budget. And this is going to continue till the 6th of October 2021. So even after JobKeeper expires, it is still going to continue for another 8-9 months. So basically this is mostly for young individuals who are getting or entering into employment, and it's sort of incentivize the employers to hire them. So it's definitely not comparable to JobKeeper. But obviously, because these are young, hopefully apprentices or new jobs, so the fees, the figures are less. But they started on the 7th of October, and eligible employers can get a payment for up to 1 October, so till October this year, for up to $200 a week for hiring a worker between 16 to 29. And at least 20 hours a week. And if you hire a person between 30 to 35, you get less, $100 a week. So this does not cover your entire wages, and over 35 is basically not a new employee, so they don't consider that. But so this $200 a week for workers aged between 16 to 29 and 100 between 30 to 35 years of age. This will not cover your entire wage, but it is a good help. So if you're looking at hiring new employees after JobKeeper, after March, then this is the area that you can look, because a lot of people will become redundant. And let's say if your business cannot afford a full-time employee and you have to let him go after 28th of March, you can't afford him, then you may look at this area where you could hire someone for at least 20 hours who is junior, will take a bit of less wage, and you will also get support. So for another 8-9 months till your business picks up. So this is definitely an area that you can look at. And yeah, so try and basically after March ends, you can look at job hire. Okay, and so we've got a question from Bashir. This is not very clear. Workplace is giving annual leaves during current lockdown. That means we are not on JobKeeper. See, annual leave, basically they are probably, if they are giving annual leave, they may still be paying you some wage. So that depends on a case-to-case basis, whether your employer is paying you wages via JobKeeper or if he is not eligible. So some employers may not be eligible, and they may basically then ask the employees to use up their annual leaves, to sort of continue their employment, because the employee is maybe closed down or whatever. So it's a very case-to-case basis. Need more details to answer that one. And now let me quickly on job hire. So basically what I'm trying to say is, after JobKeeper, you've got JobSeeker or new Start Allowance. That's going to be there. That's taken care of by Centerlink. And then there is job hire, which I'm discussing. This is going to be available for another 9 months till October, almost 8 months at least. And you've got the instant asset write-off, which is till June. So you've got a few things still there for businesses. Okay, so but obviously this means after JobKeeper there's nothing left for the employees as such. Unless you have an business, you can go for instant asset write-off and claim some benefits there. Or if you're employing people, you can go for job hire. It will help new entrants into the job market. So that's basically not much for an employee as such, unless you're a fresher or entering into the job market and eligible for job hire credit via your employer. So, and that's not much. So yeah, a lot of things are going to change. So what is, I'll just quickly run through the criteria for employers' eligibility. So basically, obviously they have to have an ABN registered for PAYG, up to date with lodgements, reporting through single touch payroll. But the point that you have to ensure is that you can't do both. You can't claim JobKeeper and job hire credit. So basically this, if you are on JobKeeper, you need to start this job hire credit after 28th. But if you were uneligible for JobKeeper, if your turnover did not drop by 30%, you are eligible for job hiring credit, provided you meet the other conditions, which are like you're not in liquidation. Obviously, government agencies are obviously not eligible for that. So basically all those sort of things. And so like for this will be till the 6th of October. And so you can sort of continue to do the calculation or hire new people if you've got. So it can't be for existing employees, so you can't make him redundant and rehire him. That will probably not be acceptable. Okay, so there's some additional criteria for eligible employees, so who are eligible employees. And basically there are other criteria. So the head count, you should have a business employee, at least one additional employee on the 30th of September. And so we've got a few examples where clients who were not eligible for JobKeeper, they have been able to avail of this. So who are eligible employees? So make sure that if you want the $200 credit, the employees aged between 16 and 29, and up to, if it's over that till 35, it's $100. And the average working should be at least 20 hours a week. during the qualifying period. And basically they must have before the commencement of employment, the employee would have been receiving some sort of payment from either youth allowance or JobSeeker, which is close to new start, or parenting payment. So basically what the government is trying to do is, instead of continuing to paying these people the parenting payment or the youth allowance or the JobSeeker or new start or whatever, they are trying to move them on to employment and giving a bit of credit to the employers to boost the employment. So this has to be genuine employment, so arm's length. And if you've got family or friends, if you're employing them, that may not be considered. So there has to be a notification made before you really start this, so with the employee details and everything have to be updated. And it also has to be reported via single touch payroll. So job hire credit, that is the only option left for employers for new employees. Instant credit, which I've already discussed, and JobKeeper, basically JobSeeker, which is via New Start or Centerlink, basically handles that. But nutshell, JobKeeper is going to end. There's not much we can do. As I already informed, that the government is of the opinion that more than $200 billion have been saved, and the people will put that to good use. So I'll just conclude here finally that JobKeeper is ending on 28th of March, and that's not going to be extended most likely. There are basically three options or benefits that are still available in this scheme, more or less linked to this scheme. One is JobSeeker, which may change its name. So New Start Allowance or JobSeeker will be available via Centerlink for people who still don't find employment or are earning below a certain amount. And then you've got the instant asset write-off, which is for businesses mainly, or for assets that are used to generate income or used in the business. And you've got the job hiring credit, which is for employers who want to hire new employees who were previously either on parenting, youth, or New Start or JobSeeker. So if you wean those people away and get them into your business, that is another area that will get you a bit of credit, not as much as JobKeeper, but definitely a bit of support in these lean times. So those are the options available. If you want more details, you can always get in touch with us on Facebook, send us a message, call us on our website, or you could chat with us. And now, before concluding, I would like to thank Mr. Fakir Anwar for organizing the questions and getting this across to people. And you can also get in touch with him via the same Facebook page, or giving him a call. We'll put the details in the chat. So thank you very much for attending this, and hopefully we'll have a few more such live sessions. And if you've got more questions, or if you want some topics covered, you can definitely leave a message on Facebook Messenger, give us a call, however. Thank you very much, and hope to see you guys.